restoration and enlightenment. The Core of You with you on another Friday, March 19th. So happy to just be in a highly enlightened spiritual mindset and trying to evolve more and more each day. We've got a great topic tonight, and I'll pass it over to my husband, Kenneth Page. I'm Bianca Page, and thank you for always being with us between Instagram, Facebook. You can always meet with us and sup with us, Vibrate Higher on YouTube, as well as our website, TheCore, CoreofU.com.
What's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a beautiful Friday. Hope everything is going good as you get prepared for this weekend, whatever you're going to be doing. I hope that you'll be safe and that you'll use wisdom and that you'll be at peace and enjoy your weekend. The topic for today that we wanted to talk about was, as we kind of work for these next several weeks, just kind of working on self, kind of tuning in, getting on the inside and seeing what's going on. So the topic for today is don't allow negativity to become your new normal. Life is filled with ebbs and flows, ups and downs, good, bad, indifferent. A lot of what we deal with, I won't say all, but a lot of what we deal with, either our success or our failures in the things that we deal with, most of the time is based on our perspective and then how we interact to that perspective. And, we don't want to have this conversation where we just, sometimes people have these kind of conversations and they kind of just disregard people that have been victimized or people that go through really bad situations and things like that. We don't want to just disregard that and just pretend that that doesn't exist and that doesn't happen and that it is real. But I still believe in life, your response to whatever you go through, your response can really begin to shape your reality, and it can shape your mindset, your consciousness, and how you move forward. So if you have had something negative that has happened in your past, maybe you're going through something negative right now. If it makes you feel really bad, or if it makes you feel really good, or if you're indifferent, wherever you are, your response to those circumstances or that circumstance is ultimately going to really define how you either make it out, how you get through, how you overcome, how you choose to take whatever you go through and help and make you better. If you go through something that's really, really bad, sometimes it's just hard. It's difficult. So that's why we always talk about make sure you surround yourself with good people, because then if you surround yourself with good people and in a good environment, then the hope and the prayer is that they'll help you through those negative times where you just don't feel like you're all by yourself. But we're talking about not allowing negativity to become your new normal. Every day you wake up, every situation is just negative. And that's just your perspective or your perception on everything.
And you got to be able to catch yourself on this moment to moment, minute to minute, then hopefully it'll stretch out, especially as you're stimulated by social media, headlines, people you care about, emails. Right now, I know for me, being in the legal field and just, I have a lot of close friends that are of Asian American or Pacific Islander descent, and they're hurting right now because of the Asian anti-racism spike that is going on. And I found myself, as a co-chair of the Black kind of employee network, we made sure we put out a message of solidarity with our Asian American colleagues, but also for my friends that are close, I let them know I'm standing with you. And I myself had to switch the sadness and the heaviness that I felt into activism. So for me, I took a few months back when we were dealing with high spikes of the constant Black, harassment and things like that. I took bystander training for xenophobic behavior as well as police harassment behavior, like how you deal with it as a bystander, because so you can feel equipped and prepared. So for me, I try to find ways to kind of channel the sadness, the negativity, the heaviness into how can I activate on that and repurpose that energy, refuel it for something positive. Doesn't mean you won't ever get down or have an emotional dip, but you have to be able to be self-aware enough to know you're there, and then, move it in a new direction, because as low as you can go, you can like push that pendulum the other way. I had to do it when I was speaking. I was going to be prepared to speak for my spiritual church family. And right before I was about to speak, 20 minutes, they told me my grandmother passed out 3 times. She was on her way in an ambulance. Had no idea, at that moment, what the prognosis was going to be, if she was even going to live. And I was home alone at that time. And I immediately went into an overwhelming sadness. The tears welled up. And as quick as they came, I moved from panic into praise. I just started looking for everything in the situation that gave me a glimmer of hope. The fact that she was still alive was enough. So I just went into praise that somebody was with her when it happened. And the more I went to positivity, the more things that came up for me to be thankful about and to fuel my positive meter up. And so it can happen in any situation. You could be dead in the middle of an argument with somebody. And like when you're focused and just so fueled up into negativity, you can like go there deep. You can start looking at everything, what's wrong. But if you stop yourself and be like, well, how's this other person feeling? What did they try to do right? What are they, you have to try to figure out ways to push the momentum back to the positive spectrum. Otherwise, it's like a wave that can sink you under.
No doubt.
I've been there before, like negative Nancy, where the more you see it, and if you can't pull it out, you better have a lifeline to somebody that can help you see the cup half full.
Yes.
Like if you know what, I'm in just a funk and I don't even want to see it right now. I just want to vent. Or like my daughter says, I'm just having a bad morning. like just tell me, how children can be so raw and real with it, and you just have to, I'll pass the mic back to you, figure out how not to let negativity become your new normal, especially and the vibration that we are now, in terms of just worldwide. We've been through 4 years of a very kind of negative undertone of leadership, and it's going to take some undoing. We've got a lot of people and a lot of just unethical behavior that has been co-signed on and normalized. Right. And so it's going to take some patience and undoing, and for a lot of us to be the light. Like we're going to have to be that example right now. Yeah. We're going to have to not be pulled down by the negativity. So we're talking about not allowing negativity to become your new normal. So, why is that so important? Why is it so important that you don't allow it to become your new, and I kind of put parentheses around the normal, because you really can become consumed with negativity, and then everything that you do. Sometimes we get out of a certain situation and take that same negative perception into the new situation. Ooh, that's a good one.
And so then when we take it into the new situation, here's this person, maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a friendship, maybe it's a business partnership, maybe, whatever it is, and all the negativity that happened in that. Now, when you're looking at this person, everything that they do, God forbid if they do anything that is similar to what the other person did. And sometimes if you're consumed by the negativity, you have to be careful, because it may look like they're doing. It may appear they're doing the same thing that other person did when really they're not. They can be like, hey, I bought you something nice or did something good for you. And if this other person, every time they did that, or, every time you were in a past relationship or friendship, with their gift giving or whatever it was came with manipulation. You know what I mean? It came with, they did it because they wanted something. And so now here you are in this situation that somebody new does something nice for you. And every time they do something nice, your perception is, well, it's clearly they want something, or they're going to manipulate, or they're going to do me wrong, or they're going to dog me. If I accept this, what kind of price tag comes with it, So you have to really be careful that you don't allow the to be consumed by the negativity. And that's why we say don't allow negativity to become your new normal. Because first of all, you weren't created to be negative. You were created and you were given the ability to experience negativity and have negative thoughts and go through that. But you were also absolutely equipped with the ability to overcome it, to get over it. And let's be honest, there are some things in life that we give a little more credence to. We give a little more of our energy, a little more of our passion or power to things, people that mean something. If they do us wrong, they can take us there. Like my wife absolutely can take me there to a negative place before just some random woman out on the street. You know what I'm saying? Because I may just be like, oh, she crazy, and just chalk it up as that. So you have to be careful with that as well.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because if someone else has a negative frame of reference for a situation you're experiencing, make sure you know who's speaking. Because say if, for instance, your friend or somebody's talking to you about a situation they experienced and your situation looks similar, they're only going to be able to give you advice from how they experience that. Mm-hmm. And if know who's speaking, if the person has a tendency to kind of look more to the negative, understand that. I mean, listen to the advice, but understand what's their vibe. Are they more apt to see your situation? And then don't allow their negative frame of reference to completely make you disregard anything that could be different about your situation.
Man, yeah.
And similarly, be self-aware about point of references for yourself where you have a tendency to go to the negative. So Absolutely. For me, I'm very conservative when it comes to certain things, making quick decisions with business or money. Sometimes you need to have those quick decisions, especially when it comes to investments or opportunities that may close quickly. So I would even advise someone, if you want a conservative approach, ask me. Mm-hmm. You probably don't want to ask me when it comes to that, because I'm going to be more sure-footed. However, I do try to look for the good, but it's I just have to know myself. I have a tendency to go to the sure-footed way and then work my way back. So if you're self-aware enough, that's something you should just be aware of. Triggers, I had a lot of experience coming up with, being surrounded by infidelity or hearing about guys cheating and things like that. Mm-hmm. So it kind of made me have more of a don't give people the benefit of the doubt if it looks like that. So knowing that, I was quick to, as I became more mature, when I was in courtship with my husband, and then when we became in relationship where we were trying to become one, I had to let him know these are triggers for me, or this is where I'm going to have doubt. Mm-hmm. If you always seem secretive about your phone, or if you have times where you're unaccounted for, those things make me go to the negative quicker. Mm-hmm. But also realizing I'm bringing in some of that negative baggage, I have to make sure I don't put that on him. So
and I have to play my role. Everybody has their roles, right? And my role is to make sure that I don't do things that's gonna kind of increase that anxiety, or that well, wait a minute, why are you doing that? I don't have to get crazy. And I think sometimes that's what we do. We get crazy with it. And then we're I'm trying to overcompensate and make her feel good and do things that I wouldn't normally be outside of who I am authentically. Just be real. Just be you. Be true. Operate with a sense of integrity, and then you'll be good to go. And so the negativity is dangerous. It's a thin line. It's a fine line, because if you're not careful, and you, as she said, if you don't really know yourself and you're not really self-aware and strong in who you are, anybody can come along and say something to you, especially a family member, a sister, brother, cousin, mom, dad, real good friend, a coworker can come along and say, hey, they said this to me and it just made me mad. Now you upset. Now you sitting at your desk at work or at home and you all frazzled, or driving home and you all messed up behind what someone else said. And they may have even gone and just left it alone. It may not be a problem. So just make sure you're aware of yourself and who you are. You're not going to be able to just skip over all negative situations all the time. You're going to have them. You're going to have to face them. You're going to have to experience them. But what we're talking to you about today is just giving you some tools, hopefully, that maybe you can get through them. Maybe you can get through them. Maybe you can overcome it. Kind of, kind of weather the storm. When you have that, and we both are, really more so positive people. And I try to look and see the positive and
look for the God, look for the good.
Yeah, really try to look for the God and the good, the lesson in most things. There are some things sometimes that just agitate me. It's just, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, it just is what it is. And so how I get past it, I'm like, that person is just a knucklehead. That's who they are. That's how they're going to be. If I don't want to be stressed out and all, upset, then I try to love them from a distance, or, maybe not have them in my intimate space at all times,
So how do you know when you've allowed negativity to become your norm? Like, have you been around it, or have you experienced it yourself?
I've never really personally experienced it. Not my norm. I've had places where I was in sort of a dark place, maybe a sad place. And so, cause I'm just like, wow. And that's how I know it, and I can say it. Cause when I'm in that place, somebody comes along and they mean well or good, and I might snap at them, you know what I mean? Or and they're like, hey, I just came by to check on you, see how you were doing. And you like, you know what? I'm sorry. I apologize. Things haven't been going so good for me, and so I may snap. I know for me, I'm not able to get the breakthroughs that I want as quick as I usually can if I'm in that space. So if I try to, if I'm trying to bring something get my energy right to bring something into my atmosphere and really try to really reel something in, it's difficult for me to do it because I'm operating from a negative space. When I can get past that or over that, it's much easier. Things just work better. Life is just better for me. I just don't like to be there. I don't really like to be around anybody that's like a negative person all the time. You absolutely have your right to be negative whenever you want, or to be sad or depressed. But and I'm not talking about somebody that, if somebody is going through some type of like clinical depression, that's different. If I know that and I know that's what they're dealing with, that's different. I'm just talking about, just negative. You just negative. Have you ever just had somebody just, no matter what you say, it's everything. They just always flip it to negative. Mm-hmm. No matter what you do, like, hey, I just received $1,000 check in the mail. Be careful. The government's always watching. That could be, and you're like, well, wait a minute. Just somebody like that. Like, wow, right. I just bought a new car. You know what I mean? They looking at you.
More bills.
More bills. Yeah. Just negative. Or you're gonna have to wash it. Now. Just instead of congratulating or celebrating, just like that. Just somebody that's just negative. Just seems like,
well, you can feel negativity in a space. It's
absolutely
heavy,
and
that's how I know when I am in a funk. Like even if I can't put words to it, I just feel heavy. Like I feel weighted down.
Just a sense of heaviness.
I have to be aware, especially for us soul watchers, light keepers. Those of you who do soul coaching and things where you are dealing with people on a spiritual level, you have to make sure you guard yourself and protect yourself and really have ways to kind of get that off of you, because when you love people to their core and when you want to see your people and all people kind of elevate, it can make you heavy. Mm-hmm. And you can start to become a victim to the very thing you're trying to help. Yes. Like, because next thing you know, that energy is transferred to your shoulders, and that's a thing for me I have to watch. And just try to do a test, a litmus test on yourself. Like, so for instance, I was seeing about a family that was being attacked every night, in Orange County, Asian family that was being attacked every night. And I felt the sadness at first reading the article, and then I started to try to look for what was the light in the story, the lightness, in terms of where did I see positivity. Well, the whole neighborhood was coming together to do patrol in front of the family. So other people made it their point to say, I'm not going to just let this family hang out here on their own and deal with it. I'm going to help be a part of the solution. So for me, little things that come in is the weight of always feeling like I'm doing something for somebody else and not having enough self-care time.
Okay.
Especially with these work from home schedules, or where you're like all the boundaries are blending between one thing to another. You used to have a little bit of a commute to break some of that up, or natural breaks in the day. Now it's like all blended, and it's like this fast forward feeling.
Right.
And you can start to feel like kind of washed over in terms of where is the downtime to just breathe. You gotta make it. And so when I start to feel that heaviness, I just literally have to get outside sometimes, like get outside and have a breath of fresh air to try to hit the reset button.
So you have to have some type of positive, and I always try to say put positive in front of this. You want to have some type of positive outlet. Because if not, then you will become consumed by the negativity. So some people meditate, they pray, they go to church. Some people lift weights. I know some people that go to the gun range, they run, whatever it is to kind of sweat, to get the day off you, to get those moments off you, to get through that sadness. Some people take a hot shower. Some people sometimes wifey loves to take her a good bath, and she has her candles up, and she be in there like the Calgon commercial, just like take me away for a little while. Whatever it is that is, but just make sure it's positive, because there are so many negative outlets out there, right? So you're trying to run from negativity, but you run to negativity, trying to get away from negativity. So things that are harmful to you, to your health, to your mind, to your body, those are the types of things you don't want to always partake in, trying to get away from the negative energy and the negative thoughts of the world. And this world is crazy. There are some dark things going on in this world, but there's also so much light. And I think that's another thing, just be mindful of the things that you focus on and really put your energy towards. Things that you focus on and put your energy towards, if you're not careful, they'll start to become a part of you.
Yeah. I mean, you even have to guard yourself in terms of what you watch and what you listen to. So we were in the thick of Black History Month, and at that same time, a lot of great, awesome movies came out. I done said this before. I messed up and watched Judas and the Messiah, A Long Night in Miami, and then the PBS 6-series special on African Americans, many rivers to cross.
Oh, wow.
I was overstimulated in Black history and the negativity and just the weight of what has happened to our culture just started to set in on me, and my whole continent started to change, and I was starting to become an angry Black woman. And right in the moment, I was like becoming hulked up spiritually, and I had to be like, you know what? Let me go sit down somewhere, because I can't take 600 years of oppression on in one moment. I was just overstimulated. I had to go sit down somewhere, and I had to talk about it. I had to literally talk about what I was feeling.
Yeah. What is let's see.
Right here.
Keep yourself surrounded by positive people. So when you're giving into that negative feeling and energy, you can call on the right people to shift you back to positivity versus people that will egg on the negative energy. So true, Tasha. I mean, because you'll call somebody and you'll be like, wow, and they will just feed into it, just feed the beast. And then now you're off, and now you're like, yeah, now I'm about to go ride and punch somebody and hurt and do bad and all this. And that's not always the most productive way to get away from that negative energy. I think we absolutely owe it to ourselves to experience the emotions of the different ebbs and flows of life, with some of the atrocities and things that have happened, especially to, the minorities in this country, and Black and brown people, and just different people, and some things have happened to women and different things like that. So we owe it to ourselves to feel that, and that's real. And I don't think you want to just gloss over that. Right.
You got to stay woke, but not get pulled into it. Yeah. You can easily.
Yeah. Even if you were pulled into it, you still want it to be, you don't want it to if you're pulled into it, to say, I would like to be a part of it to help make it better. You know what I mean? Not to make it worse though, and I think sometimes that's what a lot of people do. They get into it and they make the situation worse instead of making it better. So, talking today about, not allowing negativity to become your new normal. just a consciousness, a mindset.
Yeah, we talked about how you know when you become negative.
Yeah.
How do you deal with negative around you, and also being aware of who you're seeking advice from, who and when you become part of the problem. Like you really have to. We are all subject to being the different seats. You know, you can be part of the light and you can be part of the dark. You can be part of the positive and the negative. When can negativity be something that protects you from something? I mean, we all have experienced negativity, and there's going to be some level of that stimulus around us, whether it be in, you know, whether you just happen to run into somebody and they cuss you out for no reason. You might be oblivious to the fact that you cut them off or didn't hold the door or whatever it is. And next thing you know, you're getting cussed out or, you know, ran into. And I know for myself, what COVID has shown me is you never know what somebody's going through. Who did they just lose? What did they just lose? Where are they at? There are lots of people, even, you know, in settings, you in your workplace, like you can't take for granted that people are handling things as well as you.
That's true.
You know, or as level-minded. And I've often said to myself, wow, if I can think some of the thoughts that I can think with my spiritual guards in place, imagine somebody that doesn't have a community who loves them or doesn't have, like, somebody to pull them back. Because I told my husband 2 Fridays ago, I was like, wait, I just need to vent for a minute. And I went all the way. I just went through a whole negative rant of everything that was not right. I just needed to get it all out. And then I was like, okay, I don't need you to do nothing about it. I just need to listen. And once I was done, it was like, I felt better. Now, you had no idea what I was about to say. So how did you not let that affect you with me being so close and knowing that I was hurting?
Well, I think from knowing you and the time that we spent together, after listening to you for a little while, I was like, oh, okay, she's just having it. Because at first I was with you. I'm like, well, wait, what's going on? Who did it? You know, as a man, you know, we want to try to fix it and make it better. But as I started listening to you, you know, how you know how you used to see the women more so, the mothers would do it with their children. Who hurt that baby? Who did it? Tell daddy or mommy who did that to you, and I'm gonna go get them right now. And that's how I felt. Like, who did that to you? Let's go get them. But then as I listened to you, I realized, okay, all right, I got you. I understand what's going on. I see what's here. You just needed to vent, and so I just let you do your thing. And after that, you were good. And then you're gonna tell me, just disregard everything I just said. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
But you do need those people in your life too, and you need those spaces.
Absolutely.
You gotta, like, I had to know I was having a moment.
That's right.
And I had to be able to, you know, get it out, but also have a safe place to get it out.
No doubt. You know?
I
mean, and we need that. So, and it was a few things I was going to say here. So yeah, allowing negativity to become your normal. We're asking and we're challenging and we're encouraging you not to do that, to allow negativity to become your new normal. I think perspective, your perception, I should say, is big. Perception is really, really, really big in life. I heard something one time that was really profound to me. Like, my wife wears glasses to do the computer and stuff and do things like that. And I don't wear glasses. But let's just say if I did wear glasses, right? And so if I put her glasses on, and our prescription was different, I wouldn't be able to see. Even if I said, hey, let me use your glasses so I can see this fine print or see what's over here or whatever, I wouldn't be able to see it. And what I heard which was so profound, that the perception or the perspective that you're looking through. So in this instance, the glasses, the thing that you're using to see is just as important as what you're looking at. And so what they were saying was, because I couldn't put on her glasses to see better because it was going to actually make my vision even worse. It's important to know what lens you're looking through. It's really, really important in life. And they used to have those things. We used to play with those things. And I'm probably telling my age a little bit. Those little toy things where you would check them like this and you can look through and they would flick through and show different cartoons and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. That's kind of how life is sometimes when you're looking at things. If you pushing through, you have to just be mindful. You don't want to, everything isn't going to be rose tinted. Obviously, you want to be real and see things as they are. but just not allowing it. So if I experience something bad, okay, this happened. God, what did you want me to learn in this? What was my lesson? What did I need to see? How can I be better after this experience? Those are the kind of questions you want to ask, not necessarily such a victim mindset. Yeah, oh, woe is me, and now I'm ready to go beat up the world, and nobody loves me, nobody likes me. Just making sure you have a perspective or a perception that says it's better to say, what is it that you want me to learn, than why did this have to happen to me? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So if you can change your mindset sometimes, and listen, sometimes it may be so bad, or it may hurt you so much, or you may be so angry that you can't really do that. And we understand that. But we hope and we pray that you have somebody around you that can kind of, maybe that wasn't that bad. Maybe that was just a lesson for you to learn. Maybe you weren't supposed to go over there and be with that person anyway. They ain't mean you no good. They weren't good from you from the beginning. And maybe this helped you make the decision that you weren't going to make for yourself. Whatever you need those people around you. So perception, and I think a perspective is really, really good. Everything isn't always going to be peaches and cream and, gold and all that. But if we can find a way to make it through and to just see the good, or to see the God in things, even in things that aren't always good, to see the God in it, if you believe in God, to see the God in the situation instead of maybe seeing the good, I think it will be easier, because then if you see the God in it, then you'll learn some lessons and you'll take some things out of it. You'll become better. You can be wiser. You'll say, you know what? You got me this time, but that won't happen again. Hopefully you won't continue to be caught in the trick bag several times.
Absolutely.
So, that's one of the things. Learning that lesson is everything. It teaches so much and grows you into that next level sometimes. Absolutely. And sometimes in life, those things come to push you to the next level.
Right.
And it's important to know that.
My cousin Tasha's on. We are co-authors. She's the visionary author. And a whole book of people overcoming situations that and making it, for their good and for eventually, even in the moment you might not see it, but just to know someone else made it through. So Tasha, if you could drop a link to your website, shenominal.com. I mean, you guys, there is, just to know that whatever it is that you're going through, there's always going to be somebody that has overcome. So, and if you can't see it, ask somebody around you, is there a different way to look at this? Is there a different way to look at this?
Which means you got to put your pride and your ego aside, right? You got to put those two things away. And stop worrying that you're going to be embarrassed or somebody's going to know your business. If you really want to get through it, you'll find a way. You'll talk to somebody. If you're not able to do it on your own, you'll find somebody that you can talk to and get it out. And hopefully you'll find some help, because we weren't meant, and I say this so much, we weren't meant to travel this journey called life alone. We hopefully you have accepted the good people that God has put around you and in your life and in your space that can help lend to your goodness, and making sure that you just show up as the best version of you. And they won't allow you to come out if you don't do that. They'll be like, nope, go back in, start over again, because that it's a better you in there. I need to see and know that person. I mean, so that's what it is. And so listen, once again, thank you for joining us today as we talk about that's excellent, Carrie Pfeiffer. I have overcome so many things. We all have, and we hope that those things that you have overcome, that you've learned the right lessons from those things that you've overcome, and that today you are a better person. And I often say that you stand on your story, not in your story. So many people operate from in the negativity of their past. Everything now is negative because they're living from that in their past. Whatever happened to them yesterday. So because it was bad yesterday, then that doesn't necessarily mean today is going to be bad. Today can be a much better day. You just got to flip it, switch it, change it, and say, listen, I will not allow today be like yesterday. I'm not going to allow it to. I'm going to be intentional and make sure that it's not.
And usually, you're doing that because you will have an overwhelming emotional response to a situation before even knowing all the facts. That's pretty much a key that you are bringing in some kind of past frame of reference.
No doubt. What's up, Ty? Yeah, man. Thank you for joining us today. I think that's what it's all about. Once again, when we have these conversations, I've talked to enough people and we've coached and we've counseled people and prayed with enough people and sit with enough people and heard enough that we never want to be dismissive of someone's negative situations that maybe somebody else have put them in. And you know what I'm saying? So if there was something that you've gone through negative that was outside of your control, that's kind of a different mindset. But you are still responsible for your response. You are. I mean, let's just be honest. You are still responsible for your response. So how do I reciprocate? Do I go back at them? And sometimes people, you got to get with people to let them know because they're not going to learn unless you get back with them. But is that going to be me with everybody that I deal with? I got to go back and get back and try to get everybody told. No, it doesn't have to be that way. And we want to make sure that we are considerate of sometimes you go through things in life that's outside of your control. But a lot of things that we go through, we have control over it. If we don't have control over the circumstances, we most certainly have control over the way we respond. And responding in a positive and a healthy way, most of the time is the best way to get to the best result. Ed says, I've turned every experience, situation, good, bad, or indifferent, into a lesson learned. There it is.
Great advice.
That's excellent advice, and not everybody has that mindset. And sometimes it takes you to go through a few things to get there too, because you just like, man, I just keep getting beat up and beat up and beat up. And you're like, okay, God, what is it that you want me to learn?
And you usually come to a point where you say that out loud at some point.
You kind of forced into it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Luana said for every action, there's a reaction. And so how are you going to let that reaction be? Exactly.
Yeah.
And let me say this to you guys. If you take away nothing else from this, just first it has to be a desire to not let negativity to become your norm. It just even has to be a like, oh yeah, that's something I don't want to happen. So if you take away anything from tonight, let it first start there, and then hopefully you can review what we've discussed and get some tips for knowing when you've allowed negativity to creep in one time too many and start to become a default setting that you need to just push the reset button on, push the update on, right?
No doubt. Yeah, and a lot of us, let's just be honest, a lot of us, there's that software update on our phones and on our computers. A lot of us really need a software update. We just do, because we still operating from that. And usually what that is, that's a version that's from a year or 2 or 3 or 4 before. Now we're in 2021. There are still people right now that are operating in 2021 as if it's still 2020. And although we know COVID is around, we don't want you to, think that COVID is not, that it's not real, that it's not true. But that's 2020. We now are in 2021 now. This is a new year. We're in a new month. Today is a new day. We're in a new hour. You have a new minute now. You know what I mean? That's how you look at it. It's a new second. So what am I going to do to make this or to really capitalize on this newness to be better and to make my life better? And you are the captain of that ship. Don't allow anybody else. Don't turn your keys over to anybody else. Don't give them your mind. Don't give anyone that kind of power to have over you where it becomes your norm, right?
Trazina said something that's good. When it becomes the norm, then at times it could be that you don't realize it's happening. Trazina, that's true. We did talk about, we each shared how we know it's happening. And I think that's why you gotta hopefully have some real soldiers around you that'll kind of pull your coattail. Like, wait a minute, you're not being your normal self. But if your default is negative, you're probably gonna have a lot of negative situations around you. Not you per se, but I'm saying a person who was that way. it's going to be harder for them to pull out, because usually that means the environment they're around, the things they gravitate to. If everything is negative, it's going to be hard. There's got to be some desire to have a positive vibe around you. And I think it starts from there. And that's why I was saying, hopefully, if anyone takes away one thing, it'll be that you don't want it to become your norm, or you start to ask somebody like, wait a minute, am I starting to become that? Like, I literally have to ask people around me, or people have told me in certain situations, you seem to like always be looking for what can't we do in this situation versus what we can. And I'd be like, okay, well, let me be slow to speak in that, and figure out in those situations what I could do better. Like an example I gave earlier is with business decisions or anything that requires a quick decision on spending some money. I'm going to be more reserved. So I'll be the first to tell somebody, don't come to me with those kind of things, because that's going to be my default.
Until you can learn to get better. And let's be honest, there are things that have happened to us absolutely. And there are things that have happened to us in our past. You know, it's almost not, it isn't impossible, but it almost feels impossible to get past that hurt or that pain or that negative energy, you know. But if you want better, then you're going to do better. I mean, at the end of the day, it goes back to what she was saying, desire. If you desire better, because we all know, and we've heard this, I'm sure, hundreds of thousands of times, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result is a very definition of insanity. So we want to make sure that we do better, surround ourselves with better people, and just work to say, and I would say sometimes in those moments, you even have to fake it until you make it. Just say, yep, I'm good. I'm doing better. I'm going to be all right. And you may in your spirit like, I'm not all right, but just, I'm going to be all right. It's going to get better. God, bring me some good people that's going to help me make it better. Maybe you need to go seek and search those people. Whatever it is, just try your best to stay in the positive light as much as you can, or stay connected to a positive source as much as you can, because life will be better for you in the end. Hey, as always, we thank you. We enjoyed you guys being with us. You can always reach out. For the next several weeks, we're going to really be getting into some deep topics, and just talking about things like this in our spirituality and all the things that we go through in life. If you have something that you want to hear us discuss, talk about, if you have some questions, if you have some suggestions of some things that we can talk about, we're always willing, always welcome, always open to those things. From the core of you, CORE of the letter U, stands for the Community of Restoration Enlightenment.
Join us here, join us on IG, join us on YouTube, or join us on our website, www.TheCoreofU. Want a prayer request? Let's sup together. Let's keep growing and going.
No doubt. And as always, we leave you with hoping that you have peace in your home and in your heart. We holler at y'all later on. Have a beautiful, blessed, spiritually encouraged weekend, and we'll catch y'all next Friday.